Hello YouTube, GM. Today, Jagex released updates to ship cannons to make them actually strong and actually feel impactful. Their stated goals were ensuring that a player using a cannon is on par to the DPS of traditional combat plus 2 crew members using a cannon. So say somebody equipping a shadow, full ank, and they have their 2 crewmates shooting something. It should be equal DPS to just one person manning a cannon, like so. So this means if you're running a cannon yourself and your crewmate is running a cannon, you should be doing more DPS than if you're running a shadow and having 2 cannons, for example. Maybe the shadow is in a point where it exceeds the DPS a little bit, but just in general, traditional combat and two crewed cannons versus 1 player manned cannon and 1 crewed cannon. The 1 crewed cannon and 1 player around cannon should be doing more DPS than most traditional combat and 2 cannon combos. We've had new stats added to cannons. They have added heavy ranged accuracy for the cannons and heavy range strength for the cannonballs. Going from bronze to dragon with the heavy accuracy on the cannons, it's 30, 40, 60, 70, 85, 110, and 150. Dragons being at 150, of course. For the cannonballs, they've added a new thing called the heavy range strength. From bronze to dragon, it's 15, 30, 40, 50, 65, 80, 90, and 100 heavy strength. One thing to note is granite cannonballs are included in here, and they're the 65 strength between mithril and adamant. Sea creatures, they've changed the HP. It won't have an effect here at these vampire krakens I'm killing, but at smaller things, they've reduced their health at lower levels to make it more thematic. For example, they buffed some birds, and the birds were a little strong, so they've changed that. They have reduced, I'll just name off a few. So the Terns had 46 HP, they've reduced it to 22. The bull shark has been reduced from 128 to 81. A frigate bird from 121 to 79. They've done, it's generally around like 30-40 damage or health reduction. It's a very good change in my opinion. I feel like they were pretty crazy. A bird being able to take the amount of damage they could take was a little excessive. They've also reduced bounty XP, which is, in my opinion, not a very good change. They've reduced the XP that you get from turning in a bounty by 25%. So you get significantly less sailing XP, but quicker kills. I don't have a problem with less XP, but the way they did it isn't good. They should have increased the amount or reduced the commonality of the loot, made it less common. Because when you see big XP number or number that used to be big and it's not as big anymore, you're not gonna be like excited about that. Big number good, small number bad. XP per hour would still be going down. Like let's say they made the XP per hour reduced by 25% just through the other method I was naming. Well, it's still a lower XP per hour, so they still achieve their goals, at least what I assume their goals are. It just feels less bad to see a smaller number. They also fixed issues where gear stats weren't contributing to the damage dealt by cannons. They now contribute to damage properly. So if your gear has range strength, presumably it increases your damage dealt by your cannons. They also enabled Void Knight armor and ranged prayers doing increased damage. So basically beforehand, your Void gear and prayers weren't affecting your cannons' damage and accuracy, and now they do. Very, very good update in my opinion. It makes cannons much more impactful. Stats also apply to your cannon's damage, so having range level will affect your cannon's damage. So drinking a ranged potion also helps you do more damage. It's very good to use. One thing that has been hasn't been addressed yet, I don't believe, and it, at the very least hasn't been fixed, is the crewmate on your ship. Right now, I have my crewmate set to fire at will. If I click this, it'll make it so that he follows captain's target. This will change on its own after a certain amount of time. It will automatically hop back to fire on captain's target. Unfortunately, I had it happen many times when I was doing great white sharks earlier. It's quite a problem, probably should be fixed. In 146 great white sharks, I had it happen probably about 6 times, maybe more. It's very annoying. definitely needs to be looked at and fixed. They stated at the end of their blog that in the future they'd like to bring in single combat areas for Krakens and a few other things. We have the Vampire Kraken, the Armored Kraken, and the Great White Shark. They don't have an ETA. They're aiming to release it in the coming weeks. They'll probably release it maybe with leagues coming out or the week after, more than likely. Depending on if we have issues with leagues that they need to tackle first. Their specific statement was they're also aware that boat combat can feel overly intense against some high-level sea creatures, particularly as they're currently fought in multi-combat areas. So they're going to try to introduce some single combat Krakens and such, which is a good idea in my opinion. So overall, that's generally the gist of what they've done to update. I will now discuss more my personal feelings about how things feel, or more of my personal feelings, I guess, about how these updates actually really feel. Primarily, the cannons feel really good. They were horrible to use beforehand. Now they actually feel very good. I hit 111 there, you might have noticed. Big damage. Yep, okay, see, it's swapped back now. Stop following captain's target. Nope. How about fire at will? This is another problem. We need to have the range expanded on cannons. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to hit this. It's a little foolish. Overall, though, the cannons do feel actually useful now. They're actually, like, I'm enjoying ship combat. It doesn't feel like a slog. You can actually hit. You can also, like, ranging pots, prayer pots to last longer. If you really want to last really long, just start one tick flicking your prayers, and you're never going to run out. Very free. You can sit here with infinite prayer, infinitely killing things. I've also noticed the ballistic attractor is very effective. That's 60% saved doing my great white sharks. Even if I get rid of this, I didn't use even close to this much in cannonballs. I made money for sure killing great white sharks. It was good money too. There's better XP methods out there, but if you enjoy sea combat, or you want to farm your own cannons, your own hooks, whatever you want to do, it's actually feasible and doesn't feel bad anymore. It's very nice, the updates they've done. 108, big damage the whole way through. 103. Hitting small numbers does feel bad, but there's so many big numbers that it doesn't even matter. Anything from 50 to 120 feels great to hit. I think they've addressed a lot of the issues with sailing combat and made it feel much better. Cannons feel great to use. You can use gear if you want to. You can do a lot more, basically. The only real problems I have with it are the range is not long enough on the cannons. They need to increase the range. They need to fix the crewmates swapping back to following the captain's target instead of firing at will. And they've already said they're going to bring single combat for certain tasks or certain creatures, and that's great. That needs to be a priority. Hopefully they get that done soon like they said they would. Other than that, it's a great update. Cannons, amazing. This is why fire at will is great. I can kill 2 creatures at once. Perfect. If you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and push the bell so you can be notified whenever I upload new content.